for being on our show today. Temple Hayes on fire for life. And
Oh,
I would say that I am. I definitely am on fire for life and wanted to name this show that because, even when I may not feel that exactly doing this show, I'm like, I need to get up my fire, put some kindling on this and a new understanding so I can be on fire for life. But one of my long term friends talk about fire and passion. He gets younger every year, is the one and only Vincent Jenna. I'd like to welcome him to our show today. He is fantastic. Thank you for being with us.
oh my gosh, Temple, my soul sister over here, and definitely a sister from another mother, that definitely can happen between people, and it definitely happened with us. And so you helped to bring that out of me. It's so easy to be on fire with you, and that's why I love the name of your show, On Fire. Absolutely. Temple is on fire, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, well, I know that you and we've had many conversations. We've spent time in our home together. Um, we've gone on cruises together.
Yep.
Your beautiful Eileen and my BB and your good friends. And I know that I'm really driven by the quote by Howard Thurman, and that's one thing that really moves me. And what he said was, stop thinking about what the world needs and think about what makes you come alive. Because what the world needs is more people that are alive. And so I love that. I love that because to me, life, love, and law, they're like the same. They're like the way they express the energy behind them. It's I can't imagine having love without life, and I can't imagine having life without understanding natural laws. And you just breeze right through all of that.
I love that attitude.
Well, my guy Vincent, those of you may not know, my guy Vincent was on the original Grease. So
Oh,
that guy, he's got some moves and some grooves. Let me tell you.
that movie, yes, that age-old movie that is 40 years old. It is
Doesn't
old,
matter.
just like me. But yeah, that's
You
what I
are
did
not
for
old.
this. Oh, good. I'm glad you said that. Mature. My dermatologist today said, well, that happens to mature skin. And I said, you talking about with old people? And he said, well, mature people. So I loved how he put that. We're mature.
Yeah. It's interesting though, it is interesting. There is something I think that can, and you're the psychic in the family. Um, there's something about this age thing, right? And it's like with nature being kind, we forget about a lot of the things that were gruesome on our path when we were younger. I mean, we had heartache, heartbreak,
Mhm.
such a misunderstanding about coexisting with another human being. And we had to go, well, some of you, married the one and only and are still with her. And we're very happy for you. We actually are. But others of us, we had to experiment and stuff. But I don't know, is it just me or do I find that I'm talking to myself now out loud in front of you? I find that people put so much emphasis on age, after 40, whereas the real emphasis needs to be on when we're teenagers and we're individuating from our parents, when we find out that half the people in the world don't tell us the truth, when we find out that we need to be psychic just to know what the heck to do. We tend to, I don't know, like just scoot around that, and we put all this energy into, well, it's the age I am now. And why do we do that, Mr. Psychic, Mr.
Oh,
Visionary of the
yeah. Well,
planet?
that's also the psychotherapy part of me and psychology. See, the thing is when we're younger, we're figuring we have plenty of time. And so the only thing we get priority or give priority to is that which makes us feel good. You know, I got to achieve, I got to get a good job, I'm going to make a lot of money, right? Oh, I'll even get married and have as many children as I want. And we just keep thinking about the goals, and figuring we have plenty of time to reach them. I'm gung-ho, I'm going to achieve all of this stuff, right? And then as we become more mature and we reach a certain age, that really is, and that's where the midlife crisis comes in and all of that, because now all of a sudden we stop and think and we go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I missed so much. I was going through everything so fast. I was just looking to the next thing, rather enjoying what I was going through at the time. And now I have less time. And so it's not that age becomes important to us. What becomes important to us is each moment. Is now I'm looking at making sure I enjoy my moments. I'm past that middle age, okay? I'm way over the hump. I've got maybe a quarter of life left. I just turned 69 years old. I know you're up there with me. And I'm not counting down, right? I'm just making sure I'm paying attention to the moments. And if there are still things that I want to achieve, I still have dreams. Just because you become our age doesn't mean you have no more dreams. You have more dreams, or you still are accomplishing or working towards the dream you have. And it's just so funny because I was just listening to Joel Osteen. I love Joel Osteen. And he was talking about the fact of that it doesn't matter how old you are, is you're in the right place right now to get exactly what you want, because God wants you to have it. That higher part of you, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it that makes you feel comfortable, wants you to have what you truly want. And what I realized when I was younger is that I was so diluted in my intentions because of thinking I had so much time that I wasn't manifesting exactly everything I wanted, which is the other reason why some of that turmoil stuff snuck in. I'm sure you'll agree with me. When you're not paying attention to the path you're on, all of a sudden that's when you can get sidetracked, and some of those things can infiltrate, right? And get in your way and cause those crises that we call, right? But as soon as you really focus your mind, you have less of that for sure. Oh, maybe some health things come along, but even that you can get control of and really grasp onto. But my moments matter. And what you just said about your lesson that you had learned a long time ago is that loving your life and what you're living is what's important. And here's what's interesting about that. I don't look at the world and worry about what the world needs. I know that what the world needs is what I got.
Got it.
And what you got. Yeah. And so as long as I'm walking it, living it, talking it, my greatest joy in living life now is sharing that with my brothers and sisters. It's like, have you ever gone to a movie by yourself, or maybe just with BB, right? Your partner.
I've gone by myself.
You go by yourself, right? Yes. And you see a movie and you absolutely love it. What's one of the first things we do? We get on the phone, we talk with our lover, our partner, our wife, and we go, oh, you got to see this movie. This is fantastic. You may even call some friends up. And that actually just happened to me recently. Some friends called us and said, oh, we saw the greatest movie. I know you're going to appreciate it. And when you go, we'd love to go with you. Why? Why do you want to now go and watch it again? Because not only are you experiencing the joy of life, but you are now getting a chance to experience your friend, your partner, your brother, your sister, now experiencing the same joy, and you get that sharing in there. So that's what I live for now, because I love the way I feel about the work I do. So I love it even more when somebody else is loving it too. That's why, that's part of why I think you and I connect so deeply is it's really interesting that I just saw in the TikTok video, when you ask somebody, why are we friends?
Oh, yeah.
And the natural thing to do is to describe each other. But the unnatural and the true thing to do is, you make me feel so good about my life being in your life, Temple. I feel so good being with you. I feel so good sharing with you. And that's because of who you are. And so that's what we're supposed to be experiencing in the world. And I'd love to be able to multiply that too.
Absolutely. And that's such a beautiful thing when we are with someone, and the essence of being with them, we long to be a better person. So there's another, and there's people that their positionality of power. We're talking about that spiritual non-ending flow.
Right.
But there's other people that it's like you learn that their comfort isn't in seeing you rise, because that would require them to rise. But I love being with people like you because I want to be better. I want to do better. Like I'm sitting here going, let me pick my energy up. He is on fire. And everybody notice we have the same window. I mean, we could even be in the same house. Did you notice that?
In another room of it, right?
He could be staying at my house while BB's out of town.
Exactly.
Eileen, I'm so sorry. No.
That's great. I love that, right?
Right. So whatever our background is, right, metaphorically,
yes,
whatever our background is, there's that wonderful potential that's always calling us, not because we're broken, but because we have so much more to express, that's calling us forward for more dreams. I'm like you. I mean, in the afterlife, if they say, "Do you have anything to say?" I just know I'm going to say, I still am wanting these dreams over here. I still want to realize this over here. I can't imagine telling anyone rest in peace. That would be so boring to me. I
yeah,
don't even believe
absolutely.
in that. I think you go and you get another assignment, and you're in school, or you're helping children, or you're assisting people on the earth. But I've never really resonated with rest in peace. How dull. I mean,
No, I absolutely agree with you. What would be the sense of an intelligence, an omnipotent power and intelligence, creating all of this to only come to a stopping point?
yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense because it's not intelligent.
No.
Part of intelligence is intelligence continuing to grow and experience. And if you really think about it, we're all experiencing each other this way. Once we evolve, which is taking quite some time at this point, but once we do get to that higher level, now we're going to be experiencing each other at a higher level. And then that's going to create another type of experience. And that's going to raise us higher. So the only place is up. The only place to go is up and forward, shall we say. It is because that's the motion that we were put in. It's Newton's law. Newton's law is whenever an object or something is put in motion, only an equal to power and force or greater force can change that motion. Well, there is no greater force than spirit. And since it pushed everything in a forward motion from the moment we were created, we're going to keep going. If you look at just this earth, the whole reason why it is flourished with all the animals and all of the greenery, right? And all of that is because it keeps multiplying. And even when it looks like it's gone or dead, it's not. It's transformed into another lifestyle or life form, right? Shall we say. So it keeps going. So of course we're going to keep going. And as a medium, they tell me that on the other side. But the work you and I are doing here is truly to help people understand this, because it almost seems unfair, and I'm not going to take away from what we're doing with our own lives, right? But it seems so unfair that I'm on the phone with my clients when I'm doing a reading, and I'm sitting there having to say, I'm happy, I had circumstances, I had the, and so can you be happy? And they're not. I'm like, holy cow, I feel like I'm hoarding something, and I'm not. It's just they're not grasping it. They're not going after it. And so I'm like, it's actually, I have to say that in a metaphoric way, it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Really looking at the people, so many people in this world not happy.
Yeah, and it's still fascinating that of all the language, of all the knowledge, of all the TikTok, walk, all this, Instagram, X, and it's fascinating that people don't realize happiness, it's a choice. It's not something that's brought to you at the dinner table. It's not contingent upon your career, if you've had a microphone in your life, if you've traveled, how many children you have. It's not. It is nice that you could say, "Oh, I have these things, and this is what is out my window." But happiness, it is a choice. It's not that I look at the externals and then I'm going to decide if I'm happy or not. It seems that it would help for people to understand you choose happiness first. And from the vibration of happiness, then you notice more the things that up the ante of that and give you more, or the things that could work you and want to get into your happiness, such as calling customer service and they don't understand English nor what you're trying to explain. And I'm having this conversation with myself going, you know, they are really wanting to cut into my happiness today. But I choose happiness. And before this call is over, I'm going to project so much happiness onto them that they're going to feel it. We're going to laugh together and I'm going to address their happiness because it's possible. It's very possible. But the moment we give up on happiness, to me, it gives up on us
Yep,
because it's
yep.
a constant cause and effect immersed in a law of happiness. I mean, I look at all the birds and the squirrels in the backyard and the hummingbirds, and they don't go to classes about how can I be happy in the current state of being a bird. I just can't tell you. No, they're like, I'm happy because I am.
Right.
And that's where I start. That's my base. I saw something, it's been really on my heart, and I'm thinking of, doing different things with it in a talk, but it was on Facebook and it was a poster, and it was like, it's not really as important if the glass is half empty or half full. What's most important is that you remember you're the one pouring the water. Bam. Bam.
I like that. I mean, I
Mhm.
definitely like that, and doing a piece on that.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you bring that up, because I use that half glass of water as like
Mhm.
in a different metaphor, but you're right. I like that. You're the one pouring the
Mhm.
water. I use it as like people think that saying, because I use it to try to explain what really is a positive and a negative attitude, right?
Right.
So they think that by saying the glass is half full, that's more positive than saying the glass is half empty.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, that's not true. You're just
Good.
using different verbiage to explain the exact same scientific truth.
Yeah, baby.
So if you want a positive attitude is, oh, I got a glass of water.
Right.
That's because you know what? Over in a third world country, they're not looking at the fact that the glass, look at this, I got it right here, that
Yeah.
the glass is half empty or full. They're looking at the fact that I've got water.
Right.
So it's positive to them to have any amount of water. We want to label all of these things to make us feel good about ourselves. And yet I just got off the phone with the client. She absolutely believed that she had a positive attitude. She's doing all of this work. She's taking these classes. But in the meantime, her question to me, when am I going to finally find the right man? I keep attracting the wrong man. Am I going to be financially secure? Is my business going to work and I make money finally? When am I going to get along with my family? Are we going to reconcile? And I'm like, I'm so glad you know all of this material. I can't imagine what state you'd be in not knowing any of it. It's just right. It's like one of the things, and I want the listeners to hear this. This is really important to me. Yes. Is there a consciousness shift and there's more information coming out today in the world, a higher consciousness understanding? Absolutely. That means the bookstores and the libraries are getting more books and more periodicals on how to create a better life. Is that changing anybody's life? No. And the reason why is because the books and the knowledge do nothing.
Mm-mm.
You're the one that does everything. You got to take the book and the knowledge and do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Change a belief, form a new belief, enhance an old belief. Do something with that information that's out there. You buying all the books is not going to serve your purpose unless you use them. Otherwise, you just have another bookstore. And so that's what I find. Like you said, it's a choice. It's a commitment to yourself. Don't you find that people really have a hard time committing to themselves?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, no doubt. And on different levels, we face that. Like, your work is stop what's stopping you. And you remind me sometimes because you're so powerful, and you're powerful and a force again that makes someone better. You're not powerful because you need to take attention from others. There's a big
Oh,
big difference.
yeah.
But in that, you remind me of a scene with Bob Newhart. Remember that when his client keeps talking. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? He goes, stop it.
Yes,
Stop it.
that's a
Stop
Saturday
it.
Night
Just,
Live episode. I put
just,
that on my website.
just
Yes,
stop
just
it.
stop it.
Stop it. And it's hysterical because
Yes.
in my
Use that.
perception, it's like we have more labels. Back to that, we have more labels than we've ever had. And yet, is it because it makes us better? It explains why we're so wonderful? Or is it just another way that we are enslaved by our same misunderstandings of the law? And that's what my shaman teacher, said to me, 20 years ago, is that the emotional body is the real character that does work against me. Us. It works against
Mhm.
us.
Yes.
And so in psychology, what you would say, and I would say, and we'd make a poster, and we'd say, if you don't own your feelings will own you. So as human beings, we have found fancier ways to explain why we're still messed up.
Exactly.
It's like somebody said to me, I was telling them, a number of people have said to me actually, and I know that we're making conversation, so it's not like we're
Right.
taking each other's inventory, but they go, well, are you happy now? And I go, I was happy before. And before that, I was happy. You know,
Right.
even when my mother died and I cried about every other day because I miss her and because she died and what was she thinking that she was going to die? I was still happy that I missed her so and that it hurt so bad. You know, because happy is a given. It's not something to me that we earn, that we have to work for, that a degree will give it to us. It's about, it goes back to that choice. And when I'm with you, my happy goes way up on the scale.
I feel the same way.
I'm just like, yay, take it on. This is my
Absolutely.
guy.
We're
This is
like
my guy.
kids playing in an
Yeah,
adult game or an adult life that we can make each other even happier than what we are.
yeah. I'm
And
so
yes,
proud
what
of
you
you. I'm so
and
proud of you
well,
and who
same
you
over
are
here.
and that you're just
Thank
so
you.
out there in the world and you're sharing your gifts. They're so important to be shared. So
You know,
important.
and I'm going to say something to people because I this is another thing that's really important is there are even religions that say that feeling special is what causes your suffering. And
Mm,
I'm like sitting there going, okay, wait a minute, wait, time out, time out, time out. You're telling me that as a child, as a creation of some omnipotent power, that I'm not supposed to enjoy that. I'm not supposed to think that that's special. They think that feeling special is going to take specialness away from somebody else.
mm,
It's not.
mm.
It's going to allow you to be motivated, to care about yourself, to love yourself, to know that your story doesn't define you, that the environment you grew up in doesn't define you, that your parents and the adults in your life doesn't define you. They don't define you. You were defined from the moment you were created originally. That's number one. And then each lifetime you get to define yourself. And
Yes.
so your story is just the first chapter of a beautiful novel that you're meant to write. And talking about the label, and I don't want to, get anybody wrong in the fact that we're in a physical world. We need some labels,
Mhm.
okay?
We
Is like
do.
that thing that's flying around, right? If we didn't have a label, a Boeing 747 would be compared to an eagle as well, right?
Yeah.
No, or a cardinal, or, blue jay.
Yeah.
No, this is a bird. That's a plane. It helps us to understand who we are in our environment. Matter of fact, all of those definitions and labels were given to us first. And the whole reason why we're here is to discover what they mean, like the word love. That was
Mm.
already there inside of us and inspired that word. Like, did you ever think of why LOVE became that word? Is like, what the guy was sitting down. I don't know. Was it Webster one day or somebody was sitting there going, this feeling I've got in my heart that feels so good, it's love. I like that word. Love makes me feel good. Like, where did that come from? It was always an inspiration, right? And so the words are important to the extent that we understand ourselves,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But what you're right is we're now using words to be able to excuse ourselves
Mhm.
and and come up with all different meanings to the matter of fact. Some of the same words that we knew from the beginning of time that had one meaning don't have the same meaning today,
Mm-mm.
because when they're used wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait, it's just like The whole and here's proof of it. And not necessary that we have to get into the discussion, but this non-binary understanding that's coming into the world today.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with the name and that we came up with for a physical body and specimen.
Right.
Okay? Male, female just identifies the body parts, all of it that get together, the brain that goes with it, the physical features that do conform to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it does. But because we put so much behind those labels that we created a whole different idea and concept to the point that now people don't want to be called those labels at all. So they're
Right.
making up new ones.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that it still comes in this male form, and at least you understand, I don't like this male form. I'd rather be a female form. Okay, that's okay. You understand that, but at least you're identifying
Mm-hmm.
the difference between the two. But I don't want to be called either form. Okay, in your mind, that might be okay, but the moment you go into a doctor's office, he is going to, or she has to see you as that physical specimen in order to physically and completely help you, because I am not going to get help from a gynecologist as a male.
Right.
Right? So you have
Yeah.
to identify. But we put too much of this emotional meaning to everything now that changes the words. And therefore it's changing ourselves to such a point that people don't even know who they are anymore.
Well, and you and I both know in the work that we do that regardless of what you consider your form to be, you are, it's still an inside job.
Right.
It's still, the inside is ultimately the consciousness, the aspect of who you are, is going to still dictate your experiences and what happens and how it occurs.
That's right.
And that, to me,
Absolutely.
I'm all about people choosing and all of that. It does concern me with youth deeply
Yes.
because you go through so many things when you're less than 18. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I say if we can't drink, well, I can't at all. I'm 65 and I can't drink, but you can. But mine's a different reason. But if I
Right.
tell someone you can't drink until that age, I don't think that we should be too free with people totally changing their outside form until they are really clear that they're clear that this is, who I want to be. And
Right.
everybody debates this kind of stuff, but it still fascinates us, you and I, how we're still getting away from the deeper sense of why am I divided? Why
Yes.
and we're bombarded with it now, and it sells a lot of advertisements of. I never thought that I could explain my life because I'm a Democratic or I'm a Republican or I'm independent.
Oh my God.
What in the world? It's like, and it's just this bombardment of, let me describe this as like that. But the stopping, the Bob Newhart going, stop it,
Stop it.
is why do you feel divided? So whether you're 12 and you're a girl and you think you might be a guy or whatever, it's not about being wrong. It's not about you're not okay. It's like, why do you feel that way? And let's get to the deeper root of
That's right.
those things. Um, for all of us, let's get to the deeper root of those things. Because unless the division is healed, changing anything isn't going to change the experience. I don't think. I
No.
mean, it may help. It may feel more comforting. You may like something better. Like I like where I live versus where I lived before. And yet my happiness has always been intact. So yeah, it's just such a
Yes.
fascinating journey, and I learn every day. I mean, just being alive. Like I like that app next door.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. We
I
have that.
like it being an animal activist, or in my nonprofit, sometimes it'll say, "Will somebody help this person? Give them a hand up, give them money or something."
Right, right, right.
And so I love responding to such things. That being said, it's I've lost my cat. If you've seen Skippy, here's his picture. I lost him. He hasn't come back, and and please do not put in the comments anything about that I shouldn't have let my cat outside. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, uh,
Right.
uh, uh, oh,
Okay.
okay. You can sue McDonald's because the coffee was too. I was taught it's your job to check on the temperature before you drink it. I mean, I'm like, so
I know.
anytime your cat goes outside,
Oh,
50 chance,
right.
50-50 chance because everywhere. And it's like, but you don't want anybody to say anything to you about it. But somebody needs to say something to you about it, because the moment that little Skippy goes outside, it's a 50-50. I don't get it. I don't know. I find the longer I live, and I think this is true about you, I have such a sense of humor now. I'm thinking about maybe starting a one comedy act show, because
Oh,
it's like,
oh my God.
man, go to town. I mean, it's like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm like, you made $12 million because you drank hot coffee. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
I'm like,
Oh,
ah.
you should. You should go back and watch the television show Hacks. It's if you have Apple TV, it's on Apple TV. It's Hacks. It's really funny. It's about an old famous female comedian. It has a complete attitude, and she's actually beautiful. She reminds me a lot of you, the actress. And
Oh, thank you.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, and
Is
so
it
she's
Jean
very funny.
Smart? Jean
Uh,
Smart? Jean
ooh,
Smart, was that her name? She played
you know
on
what? I'm
Designing Women
terrible
or
at
something.
actors' name. I was a professional singer, actor, and dancer, and I can't remember any actor's name, but it is somebody that you know. And she
Okay.
hires a young comedy writer to
Okay.
work with her, and they have a really hard time getting along. But it's very funny with a comedy act, so you would love it. So
Okay.
you
Thank
definitely
you.
have to do that. But you're right. I am definitely laughing more. I watch those TikTok videos and all the hysterical things that are going on. I find them funny. I don't know if anybody
Mm,
else is finding them funny, but I'm doing nothing but laughing.
I
But
know.
going back to your comment about this separation, what was the word that you used? I even forgot it now. Division,
Division,
division. Yes,
divided.
division
Yeah.
is the separation of some kind, and so we're spending so much time paying attention to the external world.
Yeah.
And whenever you talk about the internal world, you're talking now about mind and spirit.
Yeah.
And so we're stopping at body and everything outside in the physical world. What does my success look like and my achievements look like in my home, in my house, in my appearance, right? Whether I'm male, whether I'm female, right? What do I appear like rather than what I feel like? It's really interesting about me. In when you go for your psychology degree or your social work degree, you wind up taking these different tests that they would not normally give to the public anymore because they consider them politically incorrect, right?
Right.
And one of the tests is this test of how male or female are you? Okay,
Mm,
because there are, even though we might say there are stereotypic things, but they use that as a scale to determine if, and it's actually more right brain than left brain. That's what they really should turn the scale into, right? But anyway, they took that, they gave out that test. And it was very interesting because all of the girls in the class were more on the male side of that test, and all of the guys in the class were more on the female side of that test, which was interesting because to do some kind of social work and caring and counseling, you've got to tap into that intuitive side for sure. But the girls were already in the intuitive side, so they were more about the logical stuff of life, right?
Right.
Me, I literally was 50-50. And I am proud of that because even though, like, I look male, I may not look like, Tom Cruise male, but I am going to the gym and I am trying to work out a little bit
I
more.
don't know now. You look pretty hot to me.
Oh,
And
listen to you. Where are your
I
glasses?
don't play on your team, but I mean, I think you're very hot.
Oh,
And
well,
I know Eileen feels that you are
well, I
also.
appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that a lot. But my point is that I look this way, but guess what? I can do anything other than have a baby that females do. And
Mhm.
I like that part of me. I like that balanced part. So it's the inside that does matter, and that inside includes the spiritual side. And we've forgotten our spirit and our souls, and that's why we're paying so much attention. The moment we separated from spirit, we forgot who we are.
Yeah.
Because we're one with it. We're one with that power. We're one with that source. And so then you get to define yourself by your circumstances and by the appearances, because you don't have that inside feeling anymore of being part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you start having to pay attention to the smaller things in life, the job you have, right? The position you hold in society, the way people think about you, that's going to matter to you more than your own connection with yourself, because that you lost a while ago. And that, I think, is primary the work, at least I know I do, and I know you do some of it as well, is help people reconnect with who they really are and remind them who they really are. Because I think that's where our downfall is right now, is people have no idea who they are. Because if they did, they would never act the way they do, and they would be happy all of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I truly
Hallelujah.
believe that.
Hallelujah, brother. I'm with you on that. Definitely with you on that.
Right. So I'm curious because you are very wise, and I will always ask this of a wise person because I even want to know myself. How do we bring them back? I mean, obviously, I don't want to stand in the middle of Manhattan on a box, preaching that the world is coming to an end. It looks that way, but I'm not preaching that at all, and forcing people to believe that, it's going to save you. You got to be saved now. I'm not doing that. I'm not going door to door to give away little Bibles either. So what do you do? What do you do to help that with people? How do we get them turned?
Oh, it's a big question. It's a juicy question. It's about, I mean, for me, it's about feeling comfortable and at home with myself, that inner part. And I feel that that does have a rippling effect. I feel it does affect the energy field. I mean, it's like, something as simple. I was telling some friends the other day that had come to visit my new place that, and this was true before came to on the beach, is that when we first moved in, um, it was the trees were growing and things were, the bushes and everything, they didn't look bad. But what happened is when we arrived and the puppies were there and and the animals were there, and there was life, and we were outdoors, and in just a short period of time, things were blooming, things were growing, and it wasn't related to a season. It was related to the lack of life that was present. And so I still feel at the end of the day that when we feel the absence of life, we put the energy of light into that space, and it does have an effect. The other thing is to constantly, I find, to teach myself and others the power of discernment, because we only get this half on speed, conversation about, like, all over the news over and over and over again.
Right.
Is how many students are acting out, how many didn't, how many aren't. It's like it's so hyped, hype, drug, hype. It's like we don't get a real story. We just get, there's a crocodile that went after this man's dog. We don't get there's so many crocodiles. This happens once in 35 years. And we don't ever get the accurate, the bigger picture, the multidimensional way of looking at something. And when you are divided in yourself, you don't have the capacity to make up the full story for yourself. So if as I have healed my own division, when I get hooked by, oh, a shark did this, it's like, that's the shark's house.
Yeah, really.
You put Skippy outside after you've domesticated Skippy, and you want Skippy to still have the instincts of an all the time outside cat. They don't have that. And it's the coyote's house. So, it's like when you live in a divided house and you see blurts on X or on somewhere, and you're divided, you react accordingly to the division, and it works up more of that consciousness that the divided story has, right? If you have worked with your own division and continue to, because it's not an arrival place, it's a everyday job with joy, then when you get fluffed by media, you don't get hooked. You go, yes, there are things going on. This happened in the 60s, and it happened in another time. And yes, we do need to keep an eye out on that person. Yeah, we do. And yet, with almost 8 billion people, it amazes me. This doesn't sound positive, but I mean it, that we've made it as far as we have.
I know.
Oh my God.
You're right. I'm like, where's the rest? It's so funny that you say that. It's not funny. It's actually very poignant and profound, because Eileen and I watch the news, and when we have a home group or anything, I'm hearing all the other friends and people going, oh, I got to turn off the news. I can't watch the news. It gets me so depressed. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it. Oh my God, Lord. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do you think turning off the news is also going to turn off what's going on in the world? No, it's not. It's going to be out there. And yet, do I want to be informed? Informed is one thing. Incited is something completely different, right? You incite yourself.
Yeah.
And I believe, like you said, because you are separated from yourself, because you don't have that balance and that happiness within yourself, everything you're watching is pushing some kind of button.
Yeah.
It's pushing a button inside of you. It's your own issue. So to the extent that watching the news bothers you is the extent of scars and hurts inside of you that you have yet to take care of. that you are not paying attention to. It's just being displaced. That's a defense mechanism Freud talked about, or projected onto something else. Your angers, your frustration. Look, I'm frustrated. Am I frustrated with what's going on in the Middle East? I find anything that goes on in the Middle East the most frustrating thing to me, that I'm still trying to understand because of this process. It is the beginning of civilization. We started there. It's the oldest religions, it's the oldest societies, and yet they are the least civilized societies with all of that. So talk about separation. And I just got the answer. As I was just saying that, I just got the answer. Because it was so definite with them that when they separated from source, it went as much in the other direction. So in other words, they were so focused on doing it right that wasn't even a natural source of connection with source and spirit, because when you're truly connected with spirit, things are easier, not harder.
Right.
Okay. But because they were so intent on it, that the moment they separated, they went to the extreme. And so it looks opposite. It's not that they are the most uncivilized. They are the most separated and broken and hurt.
Wow.
That's what I'm feeling. And that's why it's coming across the way it is. Because if you really think about it, they should be our examples.
Yeah.
All of them. There's a group of different religions in one area that are supposed to be getting along. It's what happened. That's what Jesus was talking about when he came down as a master teacher. He was saying, Gentiles, Jews, you all are supposed to be getting along. You're all brothers and sisters, and God loves you all, and you're all connected together. Oh, good. Okay, good. Well, that didn't get very far, but it was the whole idea is that it started there. And so to me, the mess that's going on there is only an example of the mess that's going on in here, in each of us. And it's funny you talk about the media. Okay, having been a professional actor, I have a very soft spot in my heart about media. Now, I want everybody to hear this. Is it true or false that every television show and every movie that Hollywood ever put out was a 100% success? No, right? How many bombs were put out there? How many flops? Lots. Why? Because the public didn't like them. If media shaped the public, then everything they put out would be accepted. But in actuality, the public and society shapes the media. They want to hear about the shootings and not the good things of all these people. They want to hear about the shark bite and not about 1,000,001 sharks that are doing wonderful, that people are swimming with. If they wanted to do that, they would turn on, National Geographics and listen to some wonderful documentary on sharks. No, they don't. They're more interested in, oh my God, Jerry, yes, we were at Topsail Island. There was a shark attack there. Oh my God, I knew it.
I might as well start drinking. Because one day a shark's going to eat my toe off.
Yes,
I might as well just give up, because it's a hopeless world I live in. Being a Floridian,
yes,
they
want to look at that. Because why did soap operas become famous? Because people want to see other people's drama.
That's right.
It distracts them from their own.
From looking at their division. Well, you know what? I don't want to end this show.
Oh, I know, but
every day with you, babe, is sweeter than the day before. And we just need to do this again.
Absolutely.
So if you will, let's do part 2 and part 3. If you'll write Andrea, let's have you back in the summer. Because I want to also remind everyone that Vincent has a couple of programs on Illy the Institute for Leadership and Lifelong Learning, and
Yes.
he's everywhere. And you want to go to his website, vincentjenna.com,
Right.
because you can book an appointment. He's a medium. He's a psychic. He's highly revered in so many sectors and genres. And I'm just pleased to love you. And I'm so glad you're in my life.
Oh, I know. You see, this is the stuff that brings tears to my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've done something right because one, you give me such joy, and two, you give me such enlightenment and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know. And if you're in my life because I really screwed it up and I need somebody like you in my life, then so be it, because I'm just grateful you're in my life for any and all reasons. But I truly believe that I'm blessed. From the day we met, it was like, in your a center, your spiritual center, the first time you invited me, you weren't afraid to share your stage with me, that so many are. You made me feel so welcomed and comfortable and accepted, and it just bespeaks of who you truly are and why you're affecting so many people in the world today too. And so I'm blessed being here. So thank you so much for having me share this space with you.
I love you.
I love you too, hon. Always.
Until next time, hi to Eileen.
And hi to BB. Hey,
I will. Much love, my dear.